And now ready to make his way to the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Here's the heavy-handed super middleweight from Uzbekistan, Meliquziyev.
Well, few fighters in the sport in recent years have enjoyed as much hype as Bektimr Meliquziyev did during his prospect phase, regarded by many as a surefire future world champion. But the air was let out of the Beck the Bully balloon when he was on the wrong end of the 2021 Knockout of the Year at the hands of Gabe Rosado. It's a fight he's only ever rewatched once and feels it is not representative of his true ceiling as a fighter. He's 3-0 since then, and Chris, he says his goal is to win a world title and make his first defense in a rematch against Gabe Rosado.
Yeah, he's been saying that for a couple of fights now. Look, Bektimr Meliquziyev just needs to find his way up the rankings. Nobody is going to give this guy a voluntary title shot at 168 pounds, 175 pounds, but he says he will face everybody from Matchroom's top prospect Diego Pacheco to Edgar Berlanga. He even said he faced Artur Beterbiev, who showed how good he was in his fight earlier today.
Once again, fight fans, we are set to go 10 rounds. This for the vacant WBO Global Super Middleweight Championship. It's brought to you by Oscar de Loya's Golden Boy Promotions. This in association with World of Boxing. The WBO supervisor in attendance is Gino Rodriguez, with the 3 judges scoring at ringside: Tiffany Clinton, Fernando Villarreal, and Zach Young. And when the action begins inside the ring, your referee in charge, Thomas Taylor. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trimmed in white. He weighed in officially 167.5 pounds. A veteran of 21 professional fights, his record stands at 17 victories, 2 defeats, 2 draws, with 10 wins coming by way of knockout from San Diego, California. Here is Ulises Sierra. And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and green. He weighed in also 167.5 pounds. In 11 fights, his record 10 victories, including 8 big wins coming by way of knockout, with 1 defeat. Fighting out of Indio, California, by way of Uzbekistan, here is Beck the Bully.
Fighter chief second. Fighter chief second. Right here, gentlemen, right here. Okay, cornerman. Both sides, trunks are a little high, so we're going to get to the middle of the letters. Understand? All right, guys, got my instructions in the back. Protect yourselves at all times and listen to my commands. Touch them up. Back to your corner, gentlemen.
You know, you saw Israel Madrimov in the corner of Meliquziyev. Meliquziyev is the unquestioned leader in that group of Uzbekistani fighters that came and fight out of the Joel Diaz, Antonio Diaz camp. They were devastated after he lost to Gabe Rosado. No one would like to see Bektimr wind up back on track more than they were.
You ready?
Round 1 underway. 10 rounds in the 168-pound division, and very interesting dynamic here from Meliquziyev. They very explicitly said they want rounds. And when we asked Meliquziev's camp about that, I asked, well, does that just mean you want Ulises Sierra to be durable? And they said, no, we will even take a step back and purposely go some rounds, maybe even carry him a little bit to ensure that Beck can get some rounds in.
Yeah, when it comes to Meliquziyev, he likes to come out swinging. He likes to dig down heavy to the body and try to go for the early stoppage. But they said that he's going to want to be a little bit more patient bully coming around here, because they know that Sierra's a tough guy. They know that he can withstand some punishment. So if they can get some rounds, that's exactly what they want.
Yeah,
tonight.
I thought it was interesting hearing Antonio Diaz talk this week about how they want to see Beck throw more power shots to the head. Usually you're trying to convince a fighter to throw more body shots, to be more proactive in going downstairs. Bektimr throws a lot of body shots, and he does it incredibly effectively. They'd like to see him target the head a little bit more.
Yeah, nearly all of his highlight reel knockouts have been body shot knockouts. Of course, body shot knockout against David Zagara comes to mind. Beck certainly looking a little bit more patient, purposefully so, here in the opening round. For Sierra's part, he's hoping that Beck the Bully will be aggressive here, because he wants to run him into the same shot that Gabe Rosado caught him.
Well, when it comes to Sierra, I mean, he's been in there with some big punches, so power doesn't scare him. I would like to see Meliquziyev use the fast feet that a lot of these Uzbek fighters have. They like to feint, they like to use angles. That's what I want to see with Meliquziyev to go some rounds. Footwork.
Sierra's pretty confident in his own power as well. He once described himself as the Deontay Wilder of the 168-pound division.
Well, he has an interesting story. He's half Puerto Rican, half Samoan, so power is definitely not going to be a problem when it comes to Ulises Sierra. And you can see Sierra's looking for the right counter shot. He hurt to the body right there.
There's that body shot, and Sierra is indeed hurt. And you see Meliquziyev just taking a step back.
That was evidence of what they told us this week, that he wasn't going to go for that knockout shot right away. He absolutely could have flurried and finished that fight. Chose to take a step back. This fight continues.
A patient and cautious bully now, because Beck, you could see, he's not winging away like he normally is. He's looking for the clean shot. Right now he's looking for an uppercut. Sierra missing right there, and then covering up his ribs right away. Doesn't want to get hit to the body again.
Time right there.
Keep picking the jab. He's got both. He's gonna go for that right hand. There you go. Hey, when the defense is tight, go tight, buckable. Jab, tight, buckable. Make him think you right here and you open tight.
And what a beautiful body shot by Beck, the bully right here. This is exactly what he always zeroes in on. He looks for the headshot, but right there, right under the elbow, the right elbow of Ulises Sierra. He didn't even see that coming, but he sure felt it.
What do you think of the strategy, Sergio, of taking your foot off the gas a little bit? I mean, Meliquziyev is vastly superior as a fighter, but he's also been knocked out before by a counterpunch. I mean, he's fighting a guy who, if nothing else, has shown some power in his past. How big a risk is that in a fight like this?
No, well, they told us that he wants to go some rounds. He wants to actually, get touched up a little bit. He wants to get...
Right, but how risky is that since you've been knocked out before?
That's not risky at all because, he's in control so far. He already hurt him in the first round, and I think the IQ and skill advantage is definitely on Meliquziev's part.
I hear you, but he had Gabe Rosado down in the first round of their fight, and nobody thought Gabe was going to land the kind of punch that he did that put Meliquziyev down. Look, you fighters say all the time, you don't get paid for overtime. You don't get paid for extra rounds.
But Gabe Rosado is a warrior that's been in there with Golovkin, been in there with Lemieux, been in there with some of the biggest, scariest punchers. It's night and day from Rosado and Sierra.
There's a good shot that landed from Sierra. Good short left hook. Maybe the first punch of the fight that's landed from Sierra.
Corey, I think it's a big risk to let a guy with power hang around longer than he has to.
Well, at a certain point, Meliquziyev will have to follow up on one of these flurries.
And you can see that he's being patient. Beck the bully right now, he's not smothering his power. He's looking for the right shots. And there you go. You see a foot feint right there, and Sierra hasn't bit on that. A cut on the right eye of Meliquziyev.
Blood flowing down the cheek of Meliquziyev now.
Mark, we got the cut from a punch.
So again, to your point, Chris, the longer this fight goes, things like that are now delaying Meliquziev's progress. Meliquziyev looking for a cuffing left hand. Perhaps the cut will now embolden Beck the bully. Again, even in that sequence, it looked like Meliquziyev had a lane for the right hook and instead stepped back out.
I was about to say that. He's very cautious right there. And it's not cautious of what Sierra's coming back. It's like he wants to get the distance right for just one punch instead of putting together combinations. because it's not like Sierra is countering everything that Meliquziyev is throwing at him. So it's not the right there, good right hand by Sierra, but...
All right, hey, keep that head. You all right? All right, keep the head up, all right? Let's go.
Final 15 seconds here, the second round. Good moments for Meliquziyev once again, but a couple of shots sneaking through from Ulysses Sierra.
Listen for the bell, gentlemen. Listen for that bell.
Causing a cut around the eye of Bektimr.
And there's Meliquziyev trying to get an angle on him. So now we see the footwork from the Uzbek fighter.
On that jab, okay? You're doing an awesome job on that jab, okay? Listen to me. How you feeling? Feeling good? Okay, he's almost cut. Let's start taking the right hand and let's throw the left hook over it. Right hand, left hook, okay? Don't stand in front of him too much. Start feinting, start using your feet to the side, son. Okay? Let's have some fun.
And don't wait too long in between your attacks because he's recovering. You allow him to recover too much. Allow him to spend that energy a little bit. Not too fast and not too slow.
One more thing, when you throw...
Both times that you made combinations, and you put combinations together, you landed for the third one flush. Put them together, see?
What are you cook?
Put them together.
So that cut was not from a punch. It is, in fact, a headbutt as we take a look at it right here.
Number 3. Let's go.
Indeed it was. And that's what you get when you have a southpaw and an orthodox fighter.
Caused by a headbutt, but important to note that Tom Taylor, the referee, ruled it caused by a punch. So if for some reason this fight has to get stopped, it would wind up being a knockout for Sierra. And for context here, we saw just a few weeks ago Johnny Rice fighting on a top-ranked card. He was losing pretty much every round to Guido Vianello, landed one big shot, referee stopped the fight.
The body shot by Meliquziyev with the left hand. Left hand to Sierra's body right there. You can see Sierra's right elbow covering that side of his body right there. He's hurt to the body.
Yeah, you get the sense that Meliquziyev is turning it on right now.
No jabs by Bektimr. He's looking for just winging power shots right there. That could be dangerous. I would like to see Meliquziyev set up that power with the jabs and, of course, the angles and footwork that he's trying to implement here. Just like that.
Sierra not offering much of a jab all that often either. Giving Meliquziyev the opportunity to do stuff like this. Good pivot and an uppercut right off of it from Meliquziyev.
There's a jab right there by Meliquziyev. Anytime you're looking for an opening, you know, just throw a jab out there. Have your opponent think it was something in his face. Nice counter shots by the bully right there.
Beautiful uppercut there from Meliquziyev. Rocks the head back of Ulysses Sierra and back downstairs to the body goes Bektimr.
And now Meliquziyev is feeling it. You can see by the footwork. And this is what makes these Uzbek fighters so special. They have power, but they have fast feet. They're very light on their feet. They can get them angles, and the power comes from different angles.
And Sierra can't look to go power shot for power shot with Bektimr. He's got to let that jab go. So good body shot right there for Meliquziyev.
4, 5.
That hurts Sierra. I don't think he's getting up.
7, 8. You okay? Put that mouthpiece back in. Look at me. Come to me.
Sierra almost let go of his mouthpiece, looking for a little bit extra reprieve here. But Meliquziyev has 35 seconds to close the show here in round 3.
Sierra showing guts right here because he took out his mouthpiece and was really in pain with that body shot. I don't think he was going to get up. But here he is.
And Meliquziyev, once again, for the second time in 3 rounds, is not looking to close the show.
You got to remember, he had Gabe Rosado hurt to a body shot as well before he got knocked out. So he's learning from that lesson, Meliquziyev is.
Another body shot and Sierra crumbles to the canvas.
4,
That could be it.
5, 6.
I'll be shocked if he stands up from this.
That is it. Another body shot knockout for Bektimr, the bully. He wanted rounds. He almost got 3 of them.
He is just such a devastating body puncher. No matter how many times Antonio Diaz tells him during their training camps, go upstairs, land some power shots. He always goes back downstairs because that is where he is most effective. One of the most devastating body punches in boxing today, Bektimr Meliquziyev.
And listen, Ulysses Sierra, yes, he was stopped in the first round by Edgar Berlanga, but this is a guy who is one of Canelo's frequent sparring partners, one of Jaime Munguia's frequent sparring partners. He's a durable guy. And Beck the Bully, who's toying with him here tonight.
Too good. Why he was toying with them in that round? I mean, he was aiming for the body. I mean, Ulysses Sierra, you got to give him credit. He got up in that first knockdown, but that second knockdown, that body shot was way too clean. And body shot things linger. That pain lingers around. It just doesn't go. So he took full advantage of it.
Well, Chris, at a certain point, you have to go to close the show. At a certain point, it's dishonest to the audience, it's dishonest to your opponent to just be backing off and carrying.
Look, a lot of times we hear or we ask the question, did a fighter carry the other fighter? This was pretty good evidence with the first round on that Bektimr Meliquziyev wanted to carry Sierra, but as we got toward the end of that third round, that body shot was open, he landed a big one, and Sierra just couldn't get out.
Let's take a look at some of this devastating body.
Saw Israel Madrimov.
Nice right hand there by Sierra, but that opened up. That shot to the liver, and man, that hurts me right there. That's a pain that comes late, and you could see by the way he just went down on one knee and the face. You could see that he was in pain.
Yeah, that shot wasn't as devastating as the previous one, but you think Sierra was still feeling the effects of that first shot. What I loved about that first punch, though, Sergio, it reminded me a little bit some of the shots Golovkin threw in his day, where he took something but still had enough power left in him as he took the punch to land a knockout shot. I think it was Daniel Kiel that took a knockout punch from Golovkin that way. Bektimr Meliquziyev is so strong that even taking a punch, he's able to land a devastating shot.
Well, and Ulysses Sierra, you could tell how hard that final shot was, whether it was harder than the first one or not, because Sierra was audibly in pain. We could hear him over here. A nasty, nasty body shot.
Body is unforgiving.
Nice job. Well, the next installment of the wildly entertaining Misfits Boxing and DAZN X Series 5 will take place March 4th when Jay Swingler returns to face Nikolai Parrott in a card featuring some of the stars of social media.
You know, you could have took those body shots.
We'll certainly see this knockout on our social media timelines. Let's make it official. We'll send it up to Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially. 2 minutes, 59 seconds. Round number 3. We have your winner by way of knockout, Beck the Bully Meliquziyev.
So another knockout victory for Beck the Bully, Bektimr Meliquziyev, who told us he wants to fight 5 times this year. So let's get into the weeds a little bit. What is realistic for Beck the Bully right now? Where can he go? Who could he possibly face?
Look, I think if you're Bektimir's team, Golden Boy, World of Boxing, you just have to look at some of those rankings and try to fight guys that are ahead of you in those rankings. See Meliquziyev wearing that regional belt around his waist. That's, to the mass at large, it's largely worthless, but that will help position him higher in the WBO rankings.
Well, we know who Beck the Bully wants. He mentioned Diego Pacheco. He mentioned names like Edgar Berlanga, and of course a rematch with Gabe Rosado. I would love any of those 3 fights for Meliquziyev.
You'd love them though, Sergio, but all 3 of those at this point are completely unrealistic. Matchroom's not putting this guy in with Diego Pacheco right now. So for Meliquziyev, it's all about staying active and working your way up the boxing rankings.
And looking at that body shot right there, I'm glad I retired. I'm telling you, the liver has a great memory. It never forgets pain. And shots like that, they crumble you. You don't know how to react. It's worse than getting hit in the head or the chin. That pain right there will stick for you for a long time. And I feel for Sierra right there, because you could see that he wanted to get up. After that first knockdown, he was courageous enough to get up and keep fighting. But with shots like that, especially by a big puncher like the Bully, man, it's hard to get up from power shots like that.
And you see that finishing blow, Sergio, certainly not as strong as that first shot, but he'd already done so much damage to that area that all it took was a light touch, and Sierra went down.
And something about body shots that just are so impressive. You're not used to seeing them like headshots, and we know that when you're watching a Bektimr Meliquziyev fight, it's body or nothing.
Yeah, perhaps the best pure knockout body puncher in the sport of boxing. And no doubt fans would be excited to see him test himself against any of those big names in his weight name.